Good morning, everybody. I am Amy Hesketh, and I am going to be hosting this morning's webinar and training, sharing with you my journey from teacher to professional network marketer within Forever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hang around for just a couple of minutes just to allow people some time to jump on this morning, and then I am going to get going, and hopefully you'll come away from this morning feeling motivated, inspired, because I know that part of my journey was plugging into lots and lots of other people's journeys and stories, so that I grew my own confidence and belief in the company and what I was doing, which has enabled me to completely and utterly change my life. So just bear with me for a few seconds while we let people log on, and then I will get started. I hope you're all really well. Right, I think we have got a few people listening in, so hi everyone. I am going to get started. First thing I need to say is that this webinar is being recorded and it will be popped on to Forever Knowledge. So you can go back, you can re-watch it, and you can also go and tell team members, crossline, FBOs, if you think somebody will relate or benefit from what I have to say, that please go and direct them over to Forever Knowledge, where all the webinars are. I know that I've made lots of use of them over the past few months since lockdown. The content on there is just incredible, and I feel really privileged to have been asked to contribute to what is already on there, so please utilize that. And the second thing is that I won't be answering questions as I go through. I'll definitely lose my flow, but what I will say is there is the question and answer box. If you find it on your screen, please feel free to write any questions in there if you have any, and at the end I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. That isn't a problem at all. So I'm going to start. I always feel nervous and on edge, and I feel it's a little even more so today because it isn't talking to you through case credits or volume maps or activity or anything like that. It is literally my journey since starting my Forever business 3.5 years ago now. So back in May of 2017, I was a teacher. I was on maternity leave at the time, and actually I was at the very end of my maternity leave. So I started my business at the beginning of May, and I was due back to full-time teaching at the end of the month. So it was a very full-on time. I'm not sure that from the outside looking in, you would see it as the right time. And that's really important, I think, when we are looking at people who we want to approach and share this business opportunity with. Don't make any prejudgment, because for me, on paper, this business was not for me. It absolutely wasn't. I was due back to full-time teaching. I was a first-time mummy. I had absolutely no confidence, self-confidence whatsoever. I have suffered with anxiety for years, and I'm really open about that because I feel like it's more common than it isn't. And hopefully it will reassure some of you watching and tuning into this that you don't have to start this business with confidence. You don't have to start it feeling like you are going to smash it and you're going to be great at it, because I definitely was not that person. I took a look at the information, so I fell upon the business on through a Facebook post, and I got in contact with my lovely upline and now one of my best friends, Claire Massey, and she shared the information with me. She just made me feel open enough to share the details with me. And when I looked, I was skeptical. I was all the things that everybody normally is. I was skeptical. I was thinking, this is too good to be true. I was thinking, somebody like me is not going to be able to do something like this. I didn't know if I would even enjoy it, let alone be any good at it. But at the time, I was desperate. And I say that because I didn't want to go back to full-time teaching. If I'm honest, I didn't really want to go back to teaching at all, but at that time I just didn't realize there was any other choice for me. In my head, I wanted to go back part-time. After a while, long-term teaching was not going to be long-term for me. I wanted something that was going to enable me to cut my hours down in the classroom. And I had been looking at things like working in the evenings at Tesco's down the road from me, until my husband pointed out that I'd then be working 2 jobs and I wouldn't be working part-time. And he was right. But what other option is there? You know, there's so many people out there that are looking for this option and they don't realize it's there. I was one of those people. So even though looking at the information, I was skeptical, nervous, very unsure, what I could see was the potential. And for me, the risk was too great not to give it a go than the risk of giving it a go and something bad happening. I don't know what something bad was going to happen, but when you are lacking in confidence and suffer with anxiety, everything that is possible that is bad is going to happen. So before I gave myself a chance to talk myself out of it, the very next day I ordered my business box. And I think the other thing that pushed me was probably that I did feel trapped within teaching. I don't know if any of you are watching who are teachers. I don't know if any of you are watching who are in a career and you feel trapped. And what I mean by that is that if I ever wanted to change career, there was nothing out there that was going to offer me the same income. There was nothing out there that was going to offer me the same perks. And I say perks like this because what I mean is holidays, school holidays. My husband is a teacher, he still is. So for me, if I was ever going to change career, I wanted something that was going to enable me the school holidays, because this time that I am fortunate enough to have, we are on our half term at the minute. My husband's on his half term. We're away at our family's caravan for the week with our boys. I wanted that, and there was no other career that was going to enable me to have the time at home with my little boy that I wanted, the money, the income that I'd worked really hard to achieve in my years of teaching and my teacher training, and the holidays that enabled us the precious time together as a family. So I did feel trapped, and that was another driving force, I think, for me to try something different, because within that business presentation you see all these people who initially you might think are actors who have achieved the perfect work-life balance. They have the family time and they're still earning an income. And as much as it sounded too good to be true, it wasn't worth the risk to not find out if it was going to be for me or not. And I did need a change, and it wasn't even just a career change, it was a personal change for me, because teaching, it didn't necessarily suit me, it didn't necessarily suit me as a person. Suffering with anxiety, the pressures of teaching, it did get on top of me. And when I was pregnant with Casper, my first little boy, it made me ill. When I was pregnant, my job, I had to have time off. I had to start my maternity leave early because of the circumstances within my school. So I needed something, what I didn't know then, but what I know now, is that I needed an environment in which I could be taught that you can thrive in life and you don't just have to survive and get by. And I say to everybody out there, you know, I would not give my income back that I've earned from forever, because I've worked hard for it. But my favorite thing about this business, and the thing that you cannot buy, is personal development, and being in an environment of being supported and everybody being your cheerleader and giving you that secure environment to grow in confidence is priceless. You cannot get there anywhere else. And that is why when I'm talking to people, especially who are already within the business and who maybe are having a bit of a wobble and are a bit unsure, you are in the right place. You are. There is just no doubt about that. And I absolutely know that from my personal experience and my journey. So I'm now going to start telling you, you've met the me of 3.5 years ago, May 2017. I looked happy in that picture. I was happy. I think Casper there, he must have been about maybe 5-6 months old. So I was in my maternity leave bubble and I was extremely happy. Definitely buried my head in the sand. So when I came to start my business in the May of 2017, my goal, and what I probably saw was possible for somebody like me within this business, was about maybe £400 a month. And when I sat with Claire and we had my first planning meeting and we did my goal, I put on my goal board things like a bigger house, things like a trip to Disney World, things like a car, all of the things that you think that your upline wants you to say and that you should say because it's all possible. But actually the goal that drove me in my first couple of months of business was that I needed £400 a month so that we could be comfortable, so that we could still afford to do the things that we were used to doing. I was fortunate enough within all the midst of this, and this is why I say that things in life happen for a reason. You put them out there and you attract them, they definitely do, is because my school that I was going back to full time refused my flexible working. So, and then in the meantime of coming across Forever, I came across Forever. And then I was fortunate enough to come across a 2.5 day job share that was starting after the summer holidays. So for me, I was working full time, but knowing that after the summer holidays, I was going to need this extra income because my teaching wage was going from full time to part time. That's a need goal, isn't it? I think we all need those need goals. It gives you a sense of urgency. Some people start their business and actually life's okay. Life would be okay. And it probably would have been okay if I had stayed in full-time teaching. But that's the thing, isn't it? It would have been okay. It isn't what I wanted, but we would have been okay. And actually, what this business has shown me is that it's not okay to be okay when you have the potential to be absolutely more than okay. There was no room for me to move this goal of £400, and I was ignorance on fire. So June and July of 2017, the first 2 full months of my business, I achieved the supervisor position. And I put these points in that this was around full-time teaching because initially before the summer holidays, I was leaving that school and leaving that position, but I had to go back full-time to work my notice. So full-time teaching. In the most, those teachers of you out there will know, the most hectic and tiring term of all, the one before the summer holidays, closely matched by the one before Christmas. A baby, a new mum that was suffering, with anxiety and self-confidence issues. It was exhausting being me 3.5 years ago. And I actually hit my supervisor promotion whilst I was on holiday in Madeira at the end of July of 2017. And the reason that I put that in there, it isn't to show off and say, look at me, I was really busy and look what I achieved. It's to say to you that if you have that goal that you are connected with and that sense of urgency, then you will do whatever it takes to achieve it. I am, look at my cheesy grey picture. It is so funny. When I started my business, I didn't dream of ever wanting to go on stage, ever. It was my worst nightmare. Having heart palpitations before I come on and do this webinar. So walking across the stage was never something on my goal board. But, it gave me a sense of self-belief. I worked towards a goal. I worked hard towards it. I achieved it. And guess what? My confidence grew. And that is what happens. And that's the nature of this business. It's no good sitting there thinking, I'd love to be able to do that. Oh, I'd love to be able to have that time. I'd love to be able to afford that holiday. I'd love to feel free and not have to work a 9 to 5. But don't just think it. You cannot just think it, because if you think about it too much, you're going to feel busy. You're going to feel really, really busy in your head, but you're not actually actioning anything. And it's the actions that see you the results that grow your confidence. So if you're stuck at the first part with the no confidence bit and you're thinking and you're not doing, that confidence is never going to grow. And we all deserve more. We all deserve to give ourselves the opportunity to prove to ourselves that we can. So when I say, if I can do this business, if I can get to supervisor, anyone can, I genuinely believe that. I'm not going to go into masses of detail of how I did my 10 case credits in June and my 15 in July. But what I did do was I worked hard. I booked in more than what I needed to do around my day job and around my baby, like launches and pamper parties, experience packs, doing a C9, getting my husband to do a C9, sharing our results, talking to people about the business opportunity and being excited and not coming into the business and sharing with my friends and family, this might work, I'm going to see how it goes. When I did my launches, this business is going to enable me to top up a part-time teaching income so that I can spend more time at home with Casper. And on the top, I probably looked really calm. I didn't feel it. My legs underneath were paddling like mad. I had no idea if this was going to work, but what I knew was that I was prepared and willing to put the work in to find that out for myself. So that is what happened. Within the first 2 full months I got to supervisor, and it was brilliant. I highly recommend having that on your goal board and putting that plan into action, because your income grows. For one, I was earning the money that I needed to not worry about my drop in income from part-time teaching, but also my confidence had grown, and that's priceless, right? So looking back, being asked to do this webinar forced me to look back at the rest of my first year in business, because what happened, this is really going to be really honest with you, is that I got to supervisor. A little bit of me felt like, yes, I've made it. I've done it. I've got my £400 a month. But truth be told, on my journey to supervisor, and whilst my belief was growing, I had mentioned in my first planning session to Claire, I'd love to be able to leave teaching and be a full-time mum. I would love that, if I'm honest. Had no idea if I could achieve it, but it was in my First Steps to Manager book as a long-term goal for me. So when I got to supervisor and that need goal had been hit, even though I still had my vision and my end goal of forever, my belief in this business definitely had grown from immersing myself in it and achieving what I had. And yes, the belief in myself had grown that, do you know what? Maybe I can do good things with this business. Just maybe I can. My belief was growing, but I'd hit my need goal. So my sense of urgency, it just wasn't there anymore. The fire in my belly, if you like, had not completely disappeared. It never has within this business, but it definitely wasn't as blazing hot as it was throughout June and July. And the reason that I say that to you, and I'm really honest about that, is because I think lots of people find themselves in that position in this business. Some people don't start with a sense of urgency. Some people don't have that absolute need goal because, like I said before, life is all right and life will continue to be okay and we will get by. It's whether or not you have those goals long term, but also short term, to give you a sense of urgency that you are connected to give you the motivation to go out there and do it. Because without a sense of urgency, it's okay to put it off and put it off and put it off again and again and again. That's okay. But you need the sense of urgency to date that goal, date it, be committed to putting the work in, doing the work and achieving it, because you're more than capable. But some people are just missing that. And I'd lost mine for the rest of 2017. But what I hadn't lost was my consistency. And again, this is key. My sense of urgency might have gone, but within my business, I was still regularly sharing the products through all the different means that we are coached to do. I was still using the products, adding different products to my home to be using and trialing so that we could recommend. I was still talking to people about the business. So on my journey to supervisor, I'd sponsored 2 people into my business. The majority of my case credits were retail, but I could see the long term of this is consistently recruiting into your business to find the people that want to work with you, that want to be coached, want to allow you to help them, to help build their businesses to supervisor and beyond, to support yourself in getting to manager, because all this business is about helping people. And if you're not consistently talking to people about the business and bringing people into your business, that's not going to happen. So I'd lost the urgency, but I hadn't lost the consistency. And this is really important because I got pregnant again. I feel getting a little bit emotional about this, because December 2017, we it was January. No, it was January. We were at the QLS kickstart training, and I was looking around me and I was seeing all of these people that had achieved all of these things, and I was thinking to myself, yes, I want these things, and I am prepared to do it. And I knew that long term we wanted to grow our family, which meant that I was going to be a full-time mummy. By that point, I was not going to be teaching at all by the time we had another baby, and that again was one of my goals and happiness to me that I discovered at the QLS Kickstart, was being able to prioritize my family and being the mummy first and not having anything else get in the way of that. So when we found out, I think it was it was maybe a week or two after that QLS Kickstart event, I found out that we were pregnant. I was pregnant again. And again, you put it out there, everything happens for a reason. This happened for a reason. It just did. The timing, you just couldn't write it. My urgency was back. I now had no room for excuses. I had no room for plodding along. Don't get me wrong, I was grateful for the seeds I planted back at the end of 2017. I was so grateful that I hadn't stopped my consistency, even though my urgency was lacking, because I had grown my team. I had planted a lot of seeds so that at the beginning of 2018, I had more people join my business that wanted to work their business, that I helped get to supervisor, which made my journey to manager happen. But ultimately, without that sense of urgency and without dating it, I probably could have continued at that rate and at that speed for another couple of years. And we would have been okay. But again, I had a reason now that okay just wasn't okay. I wanted more than that. I wanted to prove to myself that I could, but I also wanted to prove to my children that you can achieve anything if you set your mind to it, if you stop faffing and making excuses, and being busy and getting in your own way. You can do whatever you want. And for me, having a complete career change from a full-time teacher to a full-time network marketer, which is what we are when we are in Forever. You might not know it. I didn't know it when I first started that I was a network marketer. That it just wasn't gonna happen. It just won't happen if you don't commit to that end goal. Date it. Please date your goals. It is so important. And you might be thinking, oh, it's okay for you because you got pregnant, so you had that sense of urgency. It came to you. You didn't have to sit for ages and think about it and find it. I guess in a sense that's true, but what's your reason for doing this business? There was a reason you started, so go back to that reason and bring it back to life and make that reason your sense of urgency. And you will, if you put your mind to it and you want it enough, you just will. There's no question about it. And we have the most incredible vehicle to enable us to do just that. I said I wasn't going to talk too much about case credits, and I'm not. This is what my journey to manager looked like. And for me, manager meant that I could return after that maternity leave with Arlo, my second little boy, with my notice, which would then mean I was a professional full-time network marketer and a retired teacher, which to me was very appealing. So I just wanted to pop these figures onto the screen to show you that actually January wasn't too amazing. If you know the manager case credits, which I'm sure you do, if you're listening in, 120 over 2 months or 150 over 4, where I started off in January, February, and even March, it didn't look that exciting. I could have gone, this hard work that I've now been putting in with the sense of urgency anyway, since January, middle of January, finding out I was pregnant. It doesn't look all that like I had massive results, but what you don't see under those case credits is the work. and the foundations and the even more seeds that I was planting and all the following up that I was doing, and continuing with my retail activity. I upped my retail activity massively, because when I look back within all those case credits, a lot of them are mine. A lot of them are my own. And that is what I say to people on your journey to manager and beyond, because once you've got into the habit of influencing your own case credits, that is what it becomes. It becomes a habit. And that doesn't change. You continue to do that. If you master doing 6 to 10 case credits yourself every single month in your business, you might be thinking, oh God, that sounds a lot. But that's because you're not doing it yet. You've just got to put the work in to get there, to turn it into that habit and make it your consistent. It's incredible how much you influence your own case credits. So looking within those case credits, for example, in June, the 60 that I did, about 15 of those case credits were actually my own personal, from sponsoring and retailing. And when you sponsor into your business, don't forget that you get a whopping 2 case credits for bringing somebody into your business, and that has a massive impact on your total case credits. So this journey, it was a roller coaster. There were some days where I just felt that it was never going to happen. And there were other days where I felt on top of the world and it was absolutely going to happen. I didn't count sheep to get to sleep at night. I counted case credits. A few of the ones that I was counting up in the May of half term, we were actually here at the caravan, and I was constantly with my bit of paper ticking them off. But again, that's you immersing yourself into it, isn't it? That's how much you want to achieve what it is that you want to achieve from this business. You will just be prepared to not quit the day job, not put your effort into the day job, not put your effort into family, but know that the short-term sacrifice that you will put in building the foundations of your business will enable you complete and utter time freedom, if that is what you want. And that is absolutely what getting to manager has enabled me to achieve, because I feel like I should have put that picture there because it just makes me want to cry. What drove me on the days where I felt like it might not happen was the image of my husband. And in my head, my image was of my 2 little boys. However, when my recognition for manager happened, my eldest Casper was not of the age that you want to have at a success day. If any of you have ever had the privilege of being at a success day, you will know what I'm talking about. If any of you are new to the business and you haven't yet got to experience a success day, I literally want to cry at how much I miss them. And it is just going to be the most incredible day that we all get to go to a success day together. I just can't even, I'll cry just thinking about it. But my vision when I was getting to manager was standing on that stage and seeing my husband and my boys at the front of the stage, waving a Sapphire Network flag, our team flag, and looking down at them and knowing how proud they were of me. Which brings me on to, if your why and your goal isn't a physical thing, if it isn't an amount of money, if you're okay financially, and if it isn't holidays or a car or all of those things, use your driving force as a feeling and an emotion. Because I can tell you that going to bed every night on my journey, from a teacher to a full-time professional network marketer, was the image in my head of the pride of my husband and my boys, and how that would feel to me. And how that felt to me was I was stood on stage, a blubbering wreck, which I was, tearing up and just hoping that Bob wouldn't ask me to speak, because I wouldn't be able to, because I'd just burst into tears. And I really had connected to that feeling. So on your journey with Forever, if it isn't a materialistic thing that's going to give you the sense of urgency, please connect to an emotion, because there's nothing more powerful than visualizing you getting there, what it's going to enable you and how that is going to make you feel. And yeah, the money and the income is great, but the feeling for me that this business gives to me is the driving force, hands down. And it absolutely still is now. So that's why I wanted to share that picture with you. My little Arlo, I think in that picture, he was only a couple of weeks old, coming to his first success day. There was a few success days that year that he came to me with. So what has happened since? What has happened from the work that I put in 2017 and 2018? The end of 2019 then saw me enter 50 Club with my business. For those of you that don't know what 50 Club is, go and look in your incentive book. I don't want to spend time describing what it is now, but what it meant for me was being recognised, that feeling of being successful amongst other incredible business owners that I absolutely look up to. So for me, it was a driving force. But what 50 Club also meant to me that I was earning more than my teaching income. So again, it was connecting it to the monetary, but also the feeling. And that's what happened at the end of 2019. And what that rolled into, which 50 Club does, if you aim for 50 Club, is all these other things that momentum of getting there then builds up. So I've appeared in 100 Club, which was just insane, because I remember being at success days where they were talking about 4K's credits, and I'm thinking, this is really hard slog keeping up 4K's credits every month. How am I ever going to get into be at 100 Club? I just cannot fathom that. But this is where the baby steps come in for you. You have to have the long-term goals are amazing, and allow yourself to be excited by what is on offer with this business, but have your short-term goals that you can tick off along the way, so that the bigger ones don't seem so far out of reach. Forever to Drive level 1, I qualified for the Eagle Manager, the Eagle Manager holiday. That hasn't happened, but it's absolutely fine. Just to have achieved it, and Forever again, they're just so generous, compensating us for a trip that couldn't go ahead out of their control. It just, all of it combines into something that makes me realize every day there is nothing else out there like this. I still am on a roller coaster with my business, and I still have days where I wake up and I think, what am I doing? Like, it might just be easier to go back to the classroom. No, though, no, it wouldn't, though, would it? Because I wouldn't have every single day with my beautiful boys. I wouldn't have the freedom to be able to take them to preschool, pick them up from preschool, plan my work around them. So if the weather's nice one day, I can go, do you know what? I'm just going to do my work later. I'm going to take them out for the day. I have freedom. You cannot buy that. And then into VIP Club again, which I just still myself can't comprehend. And I go back to every time, if I can achieve this, then absolutely anybody can. I promise you, I know that for a fact. So what I want to leave this on before I go and look to see if there are any questions is, what do you want your life to look like in 3 years' time? Because the month from when I started my business at the beginning of May 2017, in the month and at the end of April 2020 is when I hit Eagle Manager. And if you'd have said to me in that picture 3.5 years ago now, 3 years ago from that point, what do you want to achieve from your forever business? I would have said to you, I want £400 a month so that I can be at home more than I am at school with other people's children. That was my goal. And what has happened in that period of 3 years has not been by accident. It has been through consistency. It has been through being connected with a goal that drives me. And most of the time that goal has been an emotional goal that has driven me to push myself out of my comfort zone more than I ever dreamed possible in my lifetime. I used to be okay being okay. And now I have realized that you don't just have to be okay in this life. You have an opportunity to absolutely thrive and smash it and prove to yourself and everybody else around you that you can achieve great things. And I am forever grateful that I came across this vehicle, this incredible company that has been my vehicle to enable me something that I never even knew I needed in my life. Isn't that just bonkers? And what excites me even more is that I love that there's a little gap next to the middle picture, because I am at the minute planning for what our life is going to look like in the next 3 years' time, using this incredible business as the vehicle for me and my family. And I just can't describe to you the goals we have in place now. They scare the life out of me. But they also excite me. And actually, your goals that you put in place, they should scare you as well as excite you. But just have a think about it, put some time into putting some goals together. What do you want your life to look like in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 3 years? Really think about it. It's the most powerful thing. And if you do want to become a full-time network marketer within forever, and that is your goal, you've got it. You've absolutely got it. You can do it. I'm just going to go hopefully see if I can find the Q&A box. I haven't actually ever done this before, so I'm not really sure what I'm doing. Chat box. Morning, everyone. I can see the chat box. I can see that there's a red dot above the questions and answers, but it's not letting me bring it up. Sam, if you can hear me, is there a question in there? Because I don't want to miss it if there is.
Hi, Amy. Yeah, sorry. If you stop sharing your screen, you should then be able to see.
Fabulous. Got it. Thank you.
No worries.
Hi, Amy. How do you keep at an OCC level once you reach a new level of the marketing plan, given that customers won't be ordering monthly? You've just got to get yourself out there. You've just got to get yourself out there and continue with the consistent activity, because that is a business. You can't reach 1 month to the next month and expect that you are just going to see results from the work that you've put in for a couple of months. You wouldn't open a shop door and you wouldn't close the doors once you'd hit a certain amount of customers. So you've just got to get yourself out there. You've just got to be really consistent with your activity and commit to it, and know that the long-term results you are going to get from the work that you're putting in, you are going to maintain and you're going to grow your case credit level. And if it's that important to you, then you will. So as a manager within the business now, I still have my retail activity planned out every month. I've not stopped going out and seeking new customers because I am a manager. That isn't how it works. So it's just being passionate about the products, using the products, going out and being passionate about sharing them, and you will build up more than the necessary case credits that you want and need within your business. So I hope that is helpful. And I think that's it. Thank you everybody for joining, whether you are joining live or whether you are catching up on Forever Knowledge. It's been a pleasure to share my journey with you. I hope that you go away feeling motivated and inspired, because you absolutely can achieve what it is that you want from your forever business. If you want it enough and you have that sense of urgency, then go and get it. So I thank you for your lovely comments, and go and have a lovely rest of the day, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you all at some point really soon. Goodbye.